So LSU, Oklahoma this weekend. Listen, you want to talk about a turnaround of a program or a turnaround of a season. You know, we look at Oklahoma this year, their first year in the SEC, and probably not the way that they thought it was going to go. You know, I went on an Oklahoma show during the offseason and went in there and I said, yeah, man, I think Oklahoma's going to be around 7-5, 8-4. And I did not expect it to be this bad. I did not expect it to be, or I did expect it to be somewhat moderately where it is, because coming in the offseason, when we talked about this on Ruffino and Joe show, I remember thinking about Oklahoma and watching their spring game, watching how bad the O-line had been, and just saying to myself, okay, the simple fact that Oklahoma went into the portal and got 8 starters along their offensive line, they list them all as starters, is concerning. It's very concerning. None of these guys have played. That basically, guys, it would be like us taking in Marlon Martinez and expecting him to be a dude at right guard. And I like Marlon. Marlon was all right. But you get my gist here. Didn't think it was going to help a younger quarterback. This is all on record. I didn't know it would be this bad, but they fired their offensive coordinator. They promoted from within, and things have, I don't want to say have gotten better, but their philosophy has changed on what they can do. Oklahoma has 5 wide receivers that are out. Their top 3 weapons are out. Now, we'll see what happens on Wednesday for a couple of them, but they cannot throw the ball effectively. And quite honestly, the last 4 weeks of the season, nor do they want to. They are going to zone read and option you and run the football all night long. The last couple of weeks, now they had to throw the ball more against Ole Miss at the end because they were getting their asses beaten. They're trying to play catch up, and it failed. But Jackson Arnold has not had over 25 passing attempts in the last month per game. Not one. They have about 40 to 45 to one game, 50 rushing attempts, though. Guys, they've gone old school. Complete and utter old school on how you play football. To be frank, they play high school football. They play 4A, 5A, gonna line up, run our best athlete right at you. LCA with Juwan Johnson a year ago. Now, Juwan would throw it a little bit, but you get my gist. In the last 3 SEC games, they played Missouri, they played Ole Miss, and they played Alabama. Jackson Arnold against Ole Miss had 9 carries for 103 yards net. The problem was he got sacked 9 times. Sacked 9 times against Ole Miss. He had negative 64 rushing yards. But if you remember in that game, that all came and 4 came in the last 2 drives. They lined it up 9 times and ran it for 103, me and Jackson Arnold, and that's what I pull from it. Because you ain't been able to stop a dude that can run at quarterback all year long. Let's be frank. You ain't been able to do it to stop it in 2 years. Moderately, efficiently, you can't stop it. Now, we could blame it as a coaching thing. We could blame it for a lot of different things. The truth is, it's pretty much the same personnel, the second and third levels. They have not been able to identify and react and get where they need to go. I look against Missouri, where they lost 30-23. And he had 17 rushing attempts for 84 yards. He got sacked 4 times. You look at his actual rushing stats on rushing plays. He has 14 carries for 100 yards. And I say to myself, man, there is no reason that Oklahoma should be able to come into Baton Rouge after Thanksgiving in their final SEC game and win. And then the film pops on. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did this kid run the ball for 137 yards against Bama this week on 24 attempts? Did they go like full spread option? Like legitimately full Florida spread option, Percy Harvin? Is that what we're doing here? And it's worked. Guys, this is not going to be a small statement, but the correct statement. Jackson Arnold is very elite. And you know I don't like using this word. He is elite at knowing the decisions that he's got to make in zone read principles. He knows when to pull, when to give, how to counteract. This kid is a true understanding quarterback of what he's got to do in the running game. Jalen Milroe is more athlete. This guy is precision. Blake, we stopped Diego Pavia last week. Man, Diego ain't this kid athletically. He's not. Diego Pavia is the TiVo or Timo, whatever it is, Timu version as an athlete to this kid. I'm telling you, this kid can pick him up and put him down. He's an athlete. And it makes me worry about him because who they were for the first 7 games, really, in the beginning of the season is BS. Complete BS. You know, in 3 of their last 4 games, meaning Oklahoma, they've had 3 different people or players have passing attempts. A quarterback, a wide receiver, and a tight end. Every single SEC game have a passing attempt because they're running double passes in the middle of plays or middle of drives. I'm like, all right, they're just going to try to throw a screen here, keep it somewhat honest. No, a double pass? They dropped the double pass. Guys, the score should have been 31-3. They dropped a double pass, a throw out screen, back up throw, like a fake screen, tight end, double tight end pass, I guess. They dropped it in the end zone. The game was not close. It wasn't close. Alabama got blown out. Now, could I make the argument that Alabama was more in the game than the final score indicated? Yes. I can do that. I can completely do that. The Ryan Williams out of bounds and then the legal procedure on the touchdown was bullshit. But I've seen them the last 4 weeks, meaning Oklahoma, play really good defense and run the football. That's what they do. That is their game. Old school, time of possession. We're going to hold on to the football, make this as close a game as we can, and we're going to lean on you for 4 quarters. And you know what? They're telling the O-line, listen, old school wedge blocking. Listen, we need you to get north and south and just start hitting dudes. You might not have cohesiveness. You might not be able to just really do anything. You might even get beat on some plays. Go knock somebody's head off. Now, they have assignments and they're doing stuff, but old school zone wedge blocking. Take one step to the play side on zone read and just run through a brick wall. It's what they're doing. It's the logic. I'm telling you, the logic behind what they're doing in run skill, okay, is old school zone, old school pin and pull, wedge stuff. And it's been effective. You know what else they don't do? They don't have a lot of penalties and they don't have a lot of turnovers. I know that this team is 5-6, but listen, man, through the first 7 games, they were dog shit. They were dog shit. Got so bad that their OC had to be fired. And we think Joe Sloan's bad. No, they had worse. Oh, buddy. I'm worried about it. I don't know if defensively that you can stop this kid. I don't. Because it's not, I mean, guys, Ole Miss, for what it's worth, I know that they came back and won that game. What was it, 26-17? Oklahoma led at the half. They led it. They were leading Ole Miss at the half. Boy, we beat Ole Miss. Oh, okay. They were running the ball on a better D-line than yours. Hey, here's the truth. If you take the sack yards away, Ole Miss is second in the country, because we were talking about Ole Miss, Mississippi State today on Ruffino and Joe show. They're second in the country in run defense. If you take away those sack yardage from Jackson Dart, guys, they were lining up and running it right at them. And I just got to be real. We're not better than that. We're not. Then I look at them defensively, and I see that they're 16th in the country in total defense. I look at their passing defense, who's been shaky, but they've given up big plays late because they've been on the field for so long. It's not like through 4 quarters they're just getting annihilated. They're 48th in the country. Run defense, guys, they're one of the better run teams that you're going to see. Front 7-wise, probably is the second or third best front 7 that you've seen all year. With Stutzman, Demonic, all of the playmakers, Stone, all the playmakers that they have up front, real playmakers. They don't let teams run on them, even when they were getting their shit pushed in. Even though when they're playing Texas and they don't have a chance. Hey, man, you ain't run the football. No, you're going to have to run this bitch 45 times. You might get us in the end, but nuh-uh. Ain't going to do it. Bama. Guess Bama could not line up and run the football on them. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. And that's something that you struggle with. And I'm like, look, man, I mean, if you sustain long enough, if you're able to hang around with them, I think late you can start getting on this defense. Let him run side to side, play maybe a little time of possession for him. Okay, fine, cute, cool. Man, I think you're in for a game this weekend. I think you're in for a game. Because defensively, man, they're not bad. They're one of the top teams in the SEC in defense. Guys, they're third in the SEC in defense. And offensively, they haven't done anything for them. And Venables is a hell of a play caller. They got dudes defensively. They've gone full 180 to what they wanted to be on as an offense, and it's benefited them, but it's not enough. They don't have playmakers on the boundary. Their O-line still can be leaky at times, and it hadn't helped them. So there are a couple things that you can do to overcome that. How does Sage Ryan, Major Burns, Josh Williams? How does Zy Alexander? How does Gio Paez and JVR Suggs potentially and Greg Penn? How do you want to go out? How do you want to go out? This is your last game in college, man. A lot of you. What if you went out there and finally showed, like, hey, man, it's been a bumpy ride, but tonight you're just not going to run the ball on us. You might get some yards here and there, but we're not going to let you go full Jalen Milroe. Do I see that happening? I don't know, not really. But if you go after the show, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to get on your laptop, your iPad, your phone, and type in Alabama versus Oklahoma, and you're going to see it. And you're going to watch everything that they do. Go to Oklahoma versus Mizzou, Oklahoma, and just watch it for yourself. You don't have to go full deep dive on it, but go do it for yourself. And you're going to see it over and over and over and over and over again. And you're going to be like, man, I don't know if we're stopping this. I don't think we can stop this. You're going to have to stack the box on them. You're going to have to try to create havoc. They're going to do zone read, and you're going to have to find a way to get as many men in the backfield as you can. On these slow mesh zone reads, the only way to stop it is obviously being your gap, if that's how you want to play it. But, man, you got to wreak some havoc. They're not going to throw the ball. They're going to keep handing the ball off over and over and over and over again. I would go in full gap engage 8 and play man everywhere else. And you know what? If you beat me deep, for the love of God, so be it. So be it. All right. Whatever. You got one on me. You got one on me. There's no way, man. What? Guys, we had Bama playing coverage, like real coverage on 3rd and 7, and they're backing off and going in a 3-man front, and Oklahoma's like, okay. You got a 4-man box? We're going to run the ball. Thanks. We just got 9 yards? Oh. What are they doing? Like, what are they doing? Why do they? Wait, it's a 3rd and 5 again in there and a 3-man. What are we doing? Ew. And it whipped their ass all night long. Kane Womack got his ass whooped all night long. Kane Womack's a DC at Alabama. So, yeah, man. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it. I just think you're in for a dogfight. I really do. And I can't believe I'm saying that. In the beginning of the season, I started chalking this one up to, man, this might be the Vandy game that we were thinking we were going to get. But it's not.